16. New day, we're on Tuesdays now, but same great hosts and content of the show. Thank you guys for tuning in here on GoMightyMax.com. My name's Dave Molinaro. I'm joined as usual, my partner in crime, Britt Merkel.
It's been an exciting month since our last episode, as both the men's and women's basketball teams are a combined 9-0 in the conference.
Both teams actually are in first place as well. Very exciting time here at Immaculata. This week's episode is going to have video content from the women's basketball trip to Madison Square Garden. Milestone night earlier this week with a 1,000-point scorer. Keep an eye out for that. And also the men had 2 wins over break.
So let's get started with the men's team. They hosted Alvernia in a non-conference action before break. In this game, the Mighty Macs used a 10-0 run to close out the game to overcome a 62-55 deficit and defeat the Crusaders 65-62. On this play, Tony Calamaro had this nifty up-and-under layup to help keep Immaculata in the game. Over the break, Immaculata played at a competitive Franklin and Marshall tournament where they fell to the Diplomats 77-73 before bouncing back with a 4-point win against Lynchburg.
The men then came back to campus to restart up conference play, and they had a big come-from-behind win against defending champion Cabrini Cavaliers by a score of 85-84. At the end of the game, Matt Simon, ice water in his veins, hit a big 3. It was awesome. Then they hosted Gwinnett Mercy on Saturday. Let's just take a little peep at those highlights.
Rodney Duncan has the ball, hits Sturdivant in the corner for the 3. Splash City! In the closing moments of the first half, Mike Griffin knocks down this 3 to close the Gwinnett Mercy lead to 46-40 heading into the locker room. In the second half, trailing by 5, junior Ron Mountain scores 2 of his 19 points on this tough layup in the lane to trim the deficit to 3. With 8 minutes to go, Roy Farrell Jr. scores 3 of his career-high 21 points in this corner 3 to cut the deficit 70-67. After grabbing the lead on a 4-point play by Joshua Smith, Ron Mountain extends the advantage to 4 on another tough layup in the lane as the Mighty Macs went on to win 89-81 and moved to 5-0 in CSAC. For his efforts, Ron Mountain was named CSAC Player of the Week.
I'm joined here today by sophomore guard on the Immaculata men's basketball team, Matt Simon. Matt, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
So the Mighty Macs are 5-0 in conference, hold first place. Can you tell us about when you look across the court and see a conference foe, what the team is thinking in their mind?
Right now, I think at the beginning of the season, when they predicted us to be 6, so that took us they gave us a little firepower under our belt. So I think that now when they look at us, they actually think we're contenders to win the CSAC this year. And we're playing just good team basketball, so I think that helps us a lot.
Mm-hmm. And then earlier this week, perennial powerhouse Cabrini, you hit a buzzer beater 3 to give us the 1-point win, 85-84. Can you tell us a little bit about that play and how it felt?
Yeah, it was definitely a big shot, but I had to make it up because it was my man that got the layup to give them the lead. So our coach called a timeout and he drew the play up for me, so I had to hit it. My man Ron set a nice screen for me, so I got a nice open look and just hit it.
That's awesome. Thank you for joining us. Good luck the rest of the way.
This week, the men's team will face Keystone and Karen before hosting Centenary on Monday.
Let's not forget, over break, the women's team, at a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, traveled to New York City and played at Madison Square Garden. But before all that, they had to host Ursinus in Alumni Hall. Let's take a quick look. After building up a 35-17 lead at halftime, the Mighty Macs put the game away in the second half with help from Adriana Shasha with the baseline drive, the little opie-dope, and the end-one layup. The Macs took the game 69-55. On January 4th, the Immaculata women's basketball team had the honor of playing in the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden, in the Maggie Dixon Classic. It was a replay of the first ever women's game held there against Queens College. Let's take a look at all these highlights. The Mighty Macs got on the scoreboard early after this Allison Zimney drive. She's as cool as the other side of the pillar. After struggling early in the game and facing a 25-14 deficit, the Mighty Macs needed a spark. And that spark came from senior Mackie Fitzgerald, who knocked down this baseline jumper to start a run for the Mighty Macs. Senior Sara Smith continued the run by driving hard to the basket and converting this to give her 2 of her team-high 15 points to make it 25-18. In the inbounds play with less than 2 minutes to go, Adriana Shasha is like Mother Nature, making it rain threes out there to make it a 7-0 run for the Mighty Macs and cut the deficit to just 4 points. Following the Queen's miss, it's Smith again with this great drive to the basket in transition as she capped off a 10-0 Immaculata spurt and sent the Mighty Macs to the locker room only down 1 by a score of 25-24. Great moment here at halftime. Members of both the Queens and Immaculata teams who played in the first ever women's game at the Garden 40 years ago were honored, and representing the Mighty Macs was Maria Alonso. In the second half, with the Queens leading, Sara Smith takes this pass from Fitzgerald on the wing and buries the jumper to cut the deficit to 37-34. Brittany Merkel muscles through the Queens defense for this rebound and kicks it out to Riley Larkin, who hits the rhythm three, which was 3 of her 13 points coming off the bench for the Mighty Macs. Let's just take a little peek how it looked from the court. Lindsey Kress, a little step back three. Brittany Merkel won't be denied in the paint, gets the board, hits it to Larkin. You know she's Splash City from deep. Money. Fighting to stay in the game, Smith finds Brittany Merkel driving to the basket in transition, and she banks it home to keep Immaculata within 5 points. Through the second half, Mackie Fitzgerald and Sara Smith play a little give and go with Fitzgerald in front of the Mighty Macs bench. Booyah for 3. With Queens trying to pull away, Allison Zimney knocks down this NBA range 3, but it's not enough as Queens would take the game by a score of 76-60. In between games, head coach Patty Canarino, Connecticut head coach Gino Ariema, and the head coach of St. John's and Queens presented a check to the Dixon family as a part of the Maggie Dixon Classic. Great moment here. After the game, the Mighty Macs shared the court with the UConn Huskies in between games before they took on St. John's. After the game, Sara Smith spoke about the experience in a press conference.
It meant a lot. Growing up, a lot of kids dream about this, and we just luckily were able to. And it was just kind of surreal, like when you stepped on the court and you just look around, like you just got to take it all in. And again, we're just really grateful for this. And for the former Mighty Macs and players of Queen College for giving us this opportunity.
As you guys very well know, our own Britt Merkel is a starter for the Immaculata women's basketball team and personally went through that experience. Can you tell us how it was from your perspective?
Yeah, Dave, it was definitely an intimidating factor at first. You know, you walk in, it's a huge arena, it's nothing that we're used to. But as we went on, we definitely settled down and people were really playing their game. We were close at halftime with Queens, and I mean, they pulled away, but it was such an awesome experience. It was very surreal and something that I'll always remember.
Yeah, definitely a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Then you guys came back to campus, you manhandled Penn State Harrisburg, and then restarted conference play against Rosemont. Let's take a look. Brittany Merkel for the Mighty Macs gets the ball down low, gives a little drop step up and under high off the glass and good to give the Mighty Macs the early lead. Lindsey Kress converts this and one opportunity midway through the first half to give the Mighty Macs an 8-point lead. This was 2 of her team high, 14 points. Immaculata's zone defense was stifling in the first half as Fitzgerald gets the steal and makes the pass to Adriana Shasha for the fast break layup and a 9-point lead. Smith capped off the dominant first half for the Mighty Macs with this triple to beat the shot clock as the Mighty Macs led at half 41-24 and ended up defeating Rosemont by a score of 74-53. The Mighty Macs were playing tough defense and Riley Larkin comes up with this steal, takes it coast to coast and converts the transition layup. The Mighty Macs started off on a 32-2 run and dominated Cedar Crest from start to finish. Needing just 16 points entering the game, Sara Smith scored 10 in the first half, and after 2 quick buckets in the second half, she buries this baseline jumper to become the 22nd 1,000-point scorer in school history. Congratulations, Sarah. Mackie Fitzgerald puts the cherry on top of the sundae of this CSAC victory with this tough end-to-one bucket as the Mighty Macs win 69-37 and move their CSAC record to 4-0 and a share in the first place. Once again, congratulations to Sara Smith on joining the 1,000-point club here at Immaculata University.
And come out tomorrow night to Alumni Hall at 6 p.m. where we take on CSAC rival Newman in a huge matchup.
It'd be nice to have a big crowd there. Remember, if you can't make it to Alumni Hall, tune in on GoMightyMacs.com with me. Live broadcast starts at about 5:55. Also, you guys travel to Gwinnett Mercy, so good luck. 2 big CSAC games coming up.
Thank you, Dave.
That's going to be a wrap for this week's episode of Mighty Mac Week in Review. I'm Dave Molinaro.
And I'm Britt Merkel.
And Go Macs.